Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So today we're unpacking Rwanda's big new plan for agriculture, PSTA 5.
That's right. The fifth strategic plan for agriculture transformation runs from, 2024 to 2029.
And our mission today is really to get under the hood, understand the core goals for their agri-food systems.
Exactly. We're using the official PSTA 5 plan as our source here, so straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Perfect. So if you want a solid overview of a national strategy, without getting totally bogged down in detail, this is for you.
Okay, so where do we start? Context, maybe.
Yeah, good idea. Agriculture is, well, fundamental for Rwanda.
Absolutely. It was over a quarter of their GDP just last year.
And it employs something like nearly 70% of households, right?
Yeah, huge. But the plan doesn't shy away from the challenges.
Like climate change, obviously, that's hitting everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And global shocks, messing with food prices, availability.
It's interesting. I saw they still import about 20% of their dietary energy needs.
Right. So boosting their own production, that's clearly a major driver here.
So what's the core strategy, the theory of change?
It really boils down to connecting farmers to markets, profitable markets.
Okay, so the idea is that link pulls everything else along. Investment, production.
Exactly. Drives investment, boosts what farmers can grow and sell, and ultimately strengthens food security. It's about making agriculture a stronger economic engine.
Makes sense. So the plan breaks down into, three main priority areas?
Yep, three key pillars. First one is all about modernizing production crops and animal resources.
Modernizing. And they've set a target for growth there.
They have, aiming for over 6% annual growth in agricultural GDP, which is, pretty ambitious.
How are they planning to do that? What are the specifics?
Well, several things. They're talking about setting up these agri-hubs and food basket sites across quite a large area.
Okay, so kind of geographic focus areas.
Sort of, yeah. Tied to new land management models, more support for smallholders too, and, interestingly, promoting urban and peri-urban farming.
Oh, right. To feed the cities more directly, that links back to reducing import reliance, I guess.
Could be part of it, yeah. And a big push on climate-smart agriculture.
Like terracing. I saw a big number for that.
Yeah, increasing radical terraces significantly, and expanding irrigation systems quite a bit too.
What about inputs? Seeds, fertilizers.
They've apparently achieved seed self-sufficiency, but now the focus is shifting to quality. Better quality seeds and better plant health management overall.
And mechanization, is that in there?
It is. They're even planning a dedicated center of excellence for agricultural mechanization.
Okay, that covers crops. What about the animal side?
Similar approach, really. Animal hubs, sustainable breeding programs.
Using things like LN2, the liquid nitrogen.
Exactly, for preserving genetic material.
No.
Plus, better access to feed, stronger animal health systems.
And fish farming, aquaculture.
Yep, developing fisheries and aquaculture, including a national research center for it. Even modern beekeeping gets a mention.
Wow, okay, that's pretty comprehensive for priority area 1. What's number 2?
Priority area. 2 shifts focused to inclusive markets and post-harvest management.
Getting the food from the farm to the consumer and making sure it doesn't spoil. And exports.
Big time. The target is to boost agricultural exports to exceed $1.5 billion US.
That's a huge jump. How?
By focusing on specific export value chains, think avocados, French beans, passion fruit, expanding those areas.
And trying to get more value, not just exporting raw commodities.
Precisely. Decommoditizing exports. Plus, strengthening farmer groups within those agri-hubs and food basket sites we mentioned.
And tackling post-harvest losses. That's always a massive issue.
Huge. Reducing losses, improving food safety, quality, adding value locally.
What about infrastructure for trade?
Improving that too.
Huh.
They specifically mentioned the Kigali wholesale market. And promoting nutritious food consumption is key here as well.
How are they doing that?
Through things like public procurement, government buying nutritious food, and also biofortification, so breeding more nutritious crops.
And making sure there's enough food available consistently. Reserves.
Yes. Ensuring food stability through strategic reserves, expanding warehouse capacity. They want 90% of households to be food secure.
Okay, that's area 2. What's the third one about?
Priority area 3 is about strengthening the enablers of the whole system.
The foundations, kind of, like research.
Exactly. Research and technology transfer, but also de-risking agriculture, making it safer to invest.
De-risking? How? Like insurance?
That's part of it. Strengthening agricultural insurance,
Yeah.
but also establishing a specific agriculture de-risking facility And a big push towards digitizing the whole agri-food system.
Right, going digital, so better data, maybe.
Better data governance,
Yeah.
developing digital infrastructure, promoting digital innovation, building digital skills. It's all in there.
And this is all linked to better planning and coordination overall.
Yes, that's sort of the underpinning for this third area, strengthening that capacity.
Okay, so looking back at the whole thing, what are the sort of key innovations or shifts in this PSTA 5 compared to before?
Well, there seems to be a much stronger focus on thinking about the entire agri-food system, how all the pieces connect.
Right, not just farming in isolation.
Exactly. And a really big emphasis on climate resilience, conservation agriculture, the terracing, irrigation we talked about.
And that spatial focus seems new, the food baskets and agri-hubs to link production and markets more directly.
Yeah, that feels like a key strategic choice. Also, the strengthened investment in food reserves, the specific model for household resilience.
And making research more market-driven.
Like those centers of excellence. It feels very focused on practical application and market needs.
Let's talk money for a second. This sounds expensive.
It is. The total investment outlined is almost 7 trillion Rwandan francs. That's quite a sum.
And a lot of that is expected from the private sector.
Yeah, nearly half, 46%. That's a really significant reliance on private investment.
How's that budget split across the three priorities?
The biggest chunk, as you might expect, goes to priority area, like the modernization of production. But significant amounts for markets and the enablers, too.
So the bottom line, what's the expected impact?
Well, the big targets are that 6% plus annual growth in agricultural GDP, getting exports over $1.5 billion, and hitting that 90% food security mark for households.
So wrapping up then, PSTA 5 looks like a really holistic attempt to transform Rwanda's entire food system.
Definitely. Connecting farms to markets, modernization, climate resilience, those seem to be the core pillars.
And that heavy involvement of the private sector is definitely noteworthy.
It really is. It brings up a pretty interesting thought, actually.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about the bigger picture, what could this kind of strategic shift mean for Rwanda's whole economic journey, towards becoming a higher income country?
Good question.
And maybe more broadly, what lessons are in here for other countries facing similar challenges in agriculture? Could parts of this plan be adapted, learned from elsewhere?
That's definitely something interesting to think about. What translates and what doesn't.